Wife wanted an open marriage to sleep with her married boss, but got fired instead when he reported her for harassment. So, I filed for divorce and watched her beg for another chance. Esther's my wife Claire, and I have been married for 15 years. We have 2 kids, Jane 13 and Martin 10. I thought we were happy. Claire's been working at the same company for 3 years. Her boss, Andrew, is in his early 40s, also married with kids. 2 weeks ago, Claire started acting distant. She was glued to her phone, smiling at texts. When I asked if everything was okay, she said she was just tired, but her voice sounded off. Last Tuesday, after the kids were asleep, she sat me down, visibly nervous. I thought someone had died. Instead, she said we'd grown apart and wanted to open the marriage. My stomach dropped. She claimed she had feelings for someone and thought we should explore other relationships while staying married. The way she said someone made it clear she already had a person in mind. I asked if it was Andrew. She got defensive and said it didn't matter, but she couldn't meet my eyes. I knew. I told her I wasn't interested in an open marriage. If she wanted to be with someone else, we should divorce. She backtracked, said she loved me and didn't want to end things but also couldn't ignore her feelings. It felt like she wanted permission to cheat without consequences. She talked about boundaries, rules, articles about open marriages, anything to justify it. But all I could think about was how our kids would feel if they knew. When I asked if she'd already slept with him, she swore she hadn't, but she hesitated, and I didn't believe her. After 2 exhausting hours, I told her I needed time to think. She hugged me and whispered she still hoped I'd consider it. The next day, she acted like nothing had happened, making breakfast, talking about school projects. I couldn't focus. At work, that night she made my favorite dinner, laughed too loud at nothing, touched my arm constantly. It felt fake. Later, she brought it up again. This time she had stats, articles, and examples of successful open marriages. But she was already emotionally cheating and wanted me to greenlight making it physical. I told her no. I said if she pursued this, we'd need to separate. She cried, said I was close-minded, said she thought I'd understand since I'd always supported her ambitions. She tried to frame sleeping with her boss as part of personal growth. I told her I was going to a hotel to clear my head. She begged me not to go. I backed anyway. She followed me around the house, crying and saying we could fix this. The kids were upstairs doing homework, unaware their parents were falling apart. Below them, I kissed them goodnight, told them I was going out of town for work, lying because I couldn't tell them the truth. Jane asked why mom looked so sad. I said she was just tired. At the hotel, I sat on the bed, trying to process everything. About an hour later, there was a knock. Claire. She was crying, makeup smeared. I led her in to avoid a hallway scene. She said she didn't really want an open marriage and had made a mistake, but she also said she couldn't promise her feelings for Andrew would go away and asked if maybe she could just stay emotionally connected to him. I laughed. It was absurd. I told her she was already having an emotional affair and asking to continue wasn't a compromise. She said at least she was honest, unlike others who just cheat. She thought that made her better. We argued for another hour. Every solution she proposed was just a way to keep her fantasy alive while holding onto our family. I finally told her to leave. She begged. I said I'd call her the next day to talk about next steps. When I asked if she'd cut all contact with Andrew and transfer departments, she refused, said it wasn't fair to sacrifice her career. That's when I knew she had already chosen him. Everything else was just damage control. Update 2 months later. Thanks to everyone who reached out. It's been the worst 2 months of my life, but your support helped. After I left, Claire insisted she wanted to save our marriage, but when I asked her to cut contact with Andrew, she said it wasn't possible. They worked too closely together. I told her she should have thought about that before catching feelings. I moved back home for the kids, but told Claire we were separated. We explained to them we were going through a rough time. Claire kept acting normal around them, trying to do family movie nights like nothing was wrong, but I watched her constantly. She was still glued to her phone, still taking private calls. She claimed it was just work. I didn't believe her. 3 weeks ago, she came home looking shaken. After dinner, she said she'd been fired. Turns out she confessed her feelings to Andrew. He shut her down and reported her to HR. She was let go for inappropriate behavior. She destroyed our marriage for someone who didn't even want her. She cried, said she realized she'd made a terrible mistake. But I could tell she was more upset about Andrew rejecting her than about what she'd done to our family. She expected me to comfort her, said she couldn't believe I'd gone on a pre-planned ski trip with my brother. She called me selfish for not canceling it. I told her I wasn't her emotional support animal anymore. She forfeited that role when she chose someone else. She had the audacity to say that kind of selfish thinking is what drove her to seek emotional connection elsewhere. I nearly lost it. Now, the kids are starting to notice something is off. Jane asked why we don't eat dinner together anymore. I haven't filed for divorce yet, but I will. I'm just trying to find the right way to tell the kids. Claire still wants to work things out. She says losing her job opened her eyes. But the truth is she didn't value what she had until it was gone. And by then, it was too late. She gambled our life for a fantasy and lost everything. The kids are starting to get involved in ways that make me feel terrible. Jane asked why I wasn't being nicer to her mom, especially when she's clearly upset about losing her job. Martin has been asking if we're getting divorced some. Kid at school told him that parents who fight a lot usually do. Claire has been crying in front of them more often, and I can see how it's affecting them. I know they think I'm being cruel during a hard time. Yesterday, Jane confronted me. She said mom told her she lost her job because of office politics and that we should support her. She didn't understand why I was being so cold. I wanted to tell her the truth that her mom got fired for confessing feelings to her married boss, but I couldn't burden a 13-year-old with that. So I told her sometimes adult relationships are complicated and I'm doing my best. Jane looked me straight in the eye and said maybe I should try harder, that her mom was really sorry, that everyone deserves a second chance. It broke me. She has no idea what she's asking me to forgive. And still, it feels like everyone expects me to just move on. Claire's been suggesting marriage counseling, says she'll do anything to fix things. But deep down, I can't shake the feeling that she only wants this because her plan with Andrew blew up. If he had wanted her, she would have left me in a heartbeat. Now that he didn't, I'm the fallback plan. I've thought seriously about divorce, but I hesitate because of the kids. My brother says what she did is unforgivable, affair or not. My sister thinks we should try therapy for the children's sake, but I feel stuck, not able to move forward, not willing to pretend things are okay either. The worst part, I don't know if she feels real remorse or just regrets that her fantasy collapsed. Update. 3 months later, I've been avoiding this update because it makes everything feel more real, but I owe it to the people who've been following and supporting me. After my last update, Claire continued pushing for counseling, promising we could rebuild stronger, but it always felt like she wanted me to forget what she did, something I knew I never could. Then came the final straw. One afternoon, her laptop was left open on the kitchen counter. A message notification popped up from an unfamiliar app. I knew instantly this wasn't something innocent. I opened it. There were weeks of messages between her and Andrew. She was still contacting him, apologizing, begging him to reconsider, telling him what they had was real. He kept replying that he wasn't interested and asked her to stop. I took photos of everything. What hit hardest wasn't just the messages, it was that she was doing this while telling me she was fully committed to saving our marriage. When I confronted her, she tried to deny it. Then she broke down, admitted she couldn't turn off her feelings, and claimed she just needed closure before moving on. That was it for me. Even after losing her job and nearly losing her family, she was still more invested in chasing him than rebuilding with me. I told her I was filing for divorce. Her face said everything she really believed. I'd keep waiting around while she sorted out her emotions. Last week, I met with an attorney and started the paperwork. Yesterday, I told Claire it was official. I waited until the kids were at school, knowing she'd fall apart, and she did. She begged me to reconsider, swore Andrew meant nothing, that she'd had a midlife crisis, that I was the only man she wanted. Then she asked, what am I supposed to tell the kids? I told her we'd tell them together, but we wouldn't lie, not even to make it easier. She suggested we separate instead of divorcing, said we'd already been apart for months, so why not give it more time? I reminded her that during that time, she'd still been lying to me. I told her I want the kids to grow up seeing what healthy love looks like, not a marriage where trust is gone. She asked if there was anything she could do to change my mind. I almost faltered. I saw glimpses of the woman I married, but I don't trust her anymore. I told her the truth. The person I married wouldn't have done any of this. She said marriage is about forgiveness. I said what she did wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern of conscious betrayal. We talked for 3 hours. By the end, we were both exhausted. She asked if maybe someday we could reconcile if she proves she's changed. I told her I needed to move forward, not hold on to a hope that will never be real. We haven't told the kids yet. Claire keeps asking to delay the conversation, still hoping I'll change my mind, but I know we can't wait much longer. They deserve the truth even if it's painful. The road ahead will be hard custody, co-parenting, emotions, but I finally feel like I'm taking back control of my life. Instead of reacting to whatever storm Claire brings next, the kids will struggle, but I believe they'll be better off long-term seeing their parents apart than watching us pretend everything is okay. I've started therapy. I'm not the man I was a year ago. I didn't expect to be a 38-year-old single dad, but I'm focused on building something real for me and for my kids.